I am so happy to be here today. Welcome to Girls Night Live's first birthday celebration week. I am so excited to have you all here. I actually recognize a few faces from a few things I've done in the past. For those of you who don't know me, I am celebrity wardrobe stylist Tara Swennen, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. And today we are going to be talking about spring trends. So I'm sure most of you, like myself, have really succumbed to the um, sweatpant, sweatsuit, sweat jacket idea during the pandemic. It has been a year of athleisure. It has been a year of sloppiness. But I can say that after this very, very long year in loungewear, I am very excited to help you all abandon those comforts and sort of step in and segue into the real world again, and let you know some of the things that we're going to see popping up this spring. So it's a very, very exciting time. I'm so excited to re-embrace my wardrobe, which I'm sure some of you are as well. And it's going to be really fun, sort of transitioning into presentable people again. Let's get started. I'm going to name a bunch of trends, but what I do want to emphasize, obviously, as a wardrobe stylist, is that do know, as I'm sure most of you do, that trends do not necessarily perform across the board. So make sure this is something that you like for yourself, that makes sense for you and your personality, that you think will work well on your body. Don't just go out and splurge on something just because you haven't spent money in a year and you really want to buy something that's trendy. That being said, the main thing that I would say coming out of this is to remember that style and comfort don't need to be mutually exclusive. So if it's something where you need to transition slowly and surely, that is totally fine. You can hold on to those knits. The goal is to just elevate it a little bit, so that we can go back into the world and, remember how to express ourselves through our fashion choices. I will start again, but just so you know, we obviously have the chat box on the side. I believe all of you are muted today. So if you do have some questions, feel free to plug them in as we go. I will try and answer them all at the very end. But I love to answer questions, so feel free. First things first, I am going to tell everybody to ditch their sweatpants. This is something that is going to be hard for a lot of us, but there are some wonderful alternatives out there. First and foremost, I'm sorry, this light is in my, oh, that's too dark, isn't it? Let's go there at least. One thing that will help you make the transition is finding more presentable clothes, but that are loose fitting. So that's something you're going to see a lot of. Loose fitting trousers are going to be something that we're going to see a lot of. Chief among them, the wide leg. You'll see it in trousers, you'll see it in jeans. You've seen it on the runways from everywhere from Jacquemus to Louis Vuitton. And there are plenty in the affordable section as well. So if you need to transition out of those sweatpants and even keep your sweatshirt on, my suggestion would be just find some good, comfortable, wide leg trousers. And there are many available in very comfortable fabrics these days. Another thing that is trending is the puffy sleeve, almost sort of like broad shoulder look that comes down to a cinch at the wrist. Very popular these days. You'll see it on blouses, you'll see it on dresses. It works really well with jeans. It's nice to play up patterns in this, area, as long as they're not too insane, because you're obviously juggling already a very pronounced sleeve. A lot of people these days, and we'll get to it in a second, corsetry is going to be one of the things. A lot of people are actually pairing it under corsets, and it sort of just adds a really fun layer, and it also cinches obviously in the waist, which is really fun. So that's just a really fun, way to pair it. You pair it with a square toe. It just has a very casual feel to it. And of course, pair it with some fun, simple jewelry and off you go. Psychedelic prints and sort of repeating motifs are really coming back in play. It's this sort of fun 70s vibe. This is definitely for the bold in the fashion department. But basically, these repetitious prints all over what you're wearing are becoming very popular, whether it be a hoodie, whether it be a pant, especially in vibrant oranges and, sort of like modern, you know, decals, whether it be sort of like a jokey cartoon or a really fun, sort of psychedelic situation. They're coming in matching sets. It's really fun, but again, this is for the bold. I would not suggest it for everyone, but if you're willing to go the extra mile, it's a really fun thing to do. Handmade sort of artisanal pieces are, of course, something that are really hitting the forefront right now because people still want to support small businesses, and secondhand shopping, what have you. Essentially, the idea of sustainable fashion is becoming very, very popular. I hope personally that it's not just a trend and it's something that's going to stay. But this idea of supporting small businesses that have very unique handmade pieces that have a unique story is something that is also becoming very popularized. So I would suggest that, much, much so. For some, it might not be something that we're ready to launch into yet, but clingy apparel is definitely trending. You're seeing a lot of tight dresses, slinky tops, ribbed minimalistic knits, a lot of asymmetrical cutouts, a lot of full cutouts. So essentially showing a lot of skin is something that you're going to see a lot of, but also super, super clingy fabrics. The one suggestion I would have if you decide to go that route is make sure you balance it, right? So if you're going to do a super tight top on the top, balance it with a wide leg trouser on the bottom. Now, of course, if you're young or have that slamming body that you're willing to just go out there and show, do the full thing. I see people shaking their heads now. But obviously, it's a very curve hugging motif. Listen, I'm still always of the idea of if you got it, flaunt it. I don't care what your shape, what your size, what your age. So do it if you're ready to, but it is something that is becoming very, very popular. So just remember, it can be paired with something that is not so slinky if you want to be, a little bit safe. So back to the corsetry, that is actually something that is coming back in style. I like to liken it to everyone sort of having their Bridgerton moment over the holidays. Everyone was sort of very inspired by royalty. Everyone obviously continues to be inspired by the royal family, but this sort of very feminine garb that's an ode to Regency and Rococo and the Renaissance era is becoming very popularized these days. It's actually a really fun way to accessorize, the same way you have to think of it as wearing like a big wide belt. You can go for it with a corset. You can wear it over a dress. You can wear it over a top, like I said, even pair it with jeans and sneakers to make it casual. But it is really fun. I like it because I can eat and feel all cinched in and locked and loaded. So that is one of my favorites coming back. It is not something that will probably last past spring, but while it's in there, if you've really ever wanted to venture into it, this is the time to do it. Square toe shoes and mules are obviously and continuously staying very, very popular. I think the shoe always remains the ultimate fashion detail for perfecting a silhouette, the ultimate way to make a fun little statement. And so you've seen a lot of, square toes all the way through 2020. I do think it's going to continue on through spring. Jacquemus, by far, Vince, Dolce Vita, everyone from Stout and Mista, all the way down the line, you're seeing this sort of square toe trend. So for those of us who I know sort of did it on the first round in the 90s, it is time to regroup and do it again. The reason I do like a square toe, for those who do like doing it, is it does give your foot a little bit of room to breathe. I know sometimes, your foot spreads out and those tiny, tiny little standard sandals have your toes creeping out on the edge. So it always a good time, especially if you've been used to wearing your slippers around the house for a solid 6 months or more. It's a nice transitional way to get back into your, tiny pumps or what have you. So you will see a lot of those. Like I said, a lot of cool cutouts, a lot of eccentrically placed cutouts these days. You're finding them in very unique places in the body, strategically placed in odd areas, just to make them unique. You're going to see a lot of that. Again, when we go back to the sort of loose fitting, oversized pieces, suiting is becoming very popular. And you see the sort of oversized pants. You're also seeing the oversized tops, but baggy items are basically the new thing. So you are seeing it on both ends of the spectrum. Obviously, you see the tight knit, clingy stuff, and then you're also going to see the super baggy stuff. But I think designers are realizing that after a very long year in loungewear, people sort of loathe to abandon that comfort factor. So you're seeing brands like Stella McCartney, Brunello Cucinelli, Max Mara, very strategically launching their lounge suits right now, which is also a nice way to sort of get back into the workforce if that's something that you have not been in for a long time. So just remember, I know a lot of people think of suiting as this sort of like uncomfortable idea, very, tight and professional. It can be that way, but right now, it's a surprisingly comfortable new way of doing it, if you want to do it. Minis are coming back in right now. So for those of you who are willing to show a little bit of leg, you're seeing it obviously in skirts, you're seeing it in dresses. It looks really, really great for spring in lightweight sweaters. You can pair it with button down blouses. V-necks always look great. High neck short sleeves always look fantastic. The poofy shoulder that we were talking about earlier always works really great. Obviously can be done with boots, which always, harkens back to the 70s, which is always a look I love. Sneakers are always great. Sandals, wedges, platforms, virtually anything works with a mini, because you get to see all that skin. So if you do also have it, we'll get to this in a second, but as a set, it's always really, really great to wear, sort of as a linen set or a knit set or what have you. As far as eyewear, tinted square frame glasses tend to be one of the main things of the moment right now. Essentially, you see any influencer walking down the street with that. It goes with virtually any look, especially the street style look, but looks great when paired, with trench coats, slacks, or of course a miniskirt. Bubble quilting, as far as accessories, is very popular. So think, your sort of Chanel quilt or your Bottega Veneta. You're going to see a lot of that back in the purses. Something that's very, very popular, always kind of has been steadily, but really works great right now with bright colors for spring. And then you just pair it with a neutral look, in the outfit that you're wearing, really make it pop. Checkerboard patterns seem to be popping up everywhere. Again, for the bold, not necessarily something that everyone's going to do, but kind of fun if you're into it. Again, everything's sort of hearkening to the 90s right now, the early 2000s. That's sort of the play that you're seeing a lot of down the runway. So if you did it once and you have it in your closet, feel free to bring it back out. It's okay to bring it back out. Again, on the oversized theme, oversized blazers and jackets, really good. People who like it with shoulder pads, it works really, really well. It's sort of a menswear blazer that's, really, really a style favorite on the runway, a really, really big favorite on the street style circuit. Just remember, it's not something that has to be only for, the workplace. So you can pair it, a lot of people were even doing it with biker shorts this past summer. It really works wear with just about anything. You can even wear that mini dress and just put it over on top, to easily sort of transition from day to night. Just a fun piece. And then, if you want to go bold, try a fun pattern, really fun with stripes or, houndstooth or a plaid. Really is kind of fun over the weekend if you pair it with a little bralette. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a button down or something more morose. You can really show some skin in this look and feel safe because you're covered in this sort of, really, really boxy item. And then obviously, if you want to go very straightforward, sort of having that, dad look, you can always pair it with a hoodie, jeans, and a sneakers, especially if you're going to start traveling, that type of thing. Headscarves are another accessory that you're going to see a lot of, something that I feel like used to be a staple in women's wardrobe, but sort of has gone away recently. It's one of my favorite things to use to really cover that bedhead, where I know a lot of us haven't even been brushing our hair that much over the past year, having our updos, what have you. So if you need to transition into doing that, it's a nice way to cover a bad hair day. And it's a little bit more elevated, obviously, than, a baseball cap or what have you. Bucket hats are trending right now, but, definitely feel free to play with accessories in the hat and scarf arena this spring. You're going to see a lot of it. So think bohemian, think turban, literally just a great little coverall for your hair. As far as colors, you're going to see a lot of sorbets and pastel tones. Obviously, this is something that's very reoccurring for spring, but the sorbet situation seems to be really at the forefront these days, which is something that doesn't normally happen as much. Monochromatic looks in all of these colors is very in, so feel free, even if it's just a slight, diffusion on each item. It's a really easy way to layer, but feel free to go full tonal. It's really, really popular right now. Obviously, a nice juxtaposition is fine too. Basically the idea is soft and pretty for spring. So pastels are very relaxed. They're very fun. They're very feminine. You'll see a lot of mint green, which plays really well with pale blue or soft gray or neutrals. It's a tough one with the brighter colors, so stick to that, arena. But rosy blush is going to be really pretty. That pairs well with, obviously pale pinks. If a lot of people are very into the all white monochromatic look. If you are scared of all white, maybe just veer a little bit towards pink. That's a really nice way to just do it, but just with a little bit, of femininity, if you will, as opposed to the stark white. That obviously works really well with most complexions as well, which is always something to think about. So that's a nice pastel as far as all pastels that works really, really well. As far as yellow, once you find the right hue for your skin tone, it can be very, very flattering and is a very, very popular color this season. If you're feeling a bit skeptical about it, just remember you can always break it up with white or light blue or gray. The blue situation is really, really great. This sort of like nice icy tone works really well with cold greens, especially if you're wearing something, flowy and really nice, like a satin or a cotton. Those work really, really well this spring. While we are on the color circuit, yellow, it seems to be one of the most popular trends that's coming on the runway, but especially in accessories. So think yellow purses. That tends to be really, really, really popular. A bright yellow purse is really fun to help color block. If you do some, other color blocks or fun, patterns in your outfit, it's an easy way to pull out that color if you have something in it. Also really fun just as like its own eye catching situation. So you can do it with a full neutral outfit, and then have that be the one sort of statement piece that you wear. But it works really well with white, with tan, with blue, with gray, with black. The vibrancy really is just a fun, way to pop it out. But don't forget, it also works really well with yellow, orange, purple. So, just pair it with even a t-shirt and jeans, a pair of, tan, ballet flats, pop out the door. It's a really fun, unique accessory. White is, like I said, very, very popular. White in and of itself is very popular in the knee-high boots right now, also in booties. I know some people get very scared of it because they're like, I'm going to get it so dirty. You know, there are many ways of cleaning things and taking stains off. Just a little DIY from a stylist. Banana peels work really, really well at taking stains off of white items. But it is actually a boot that works all around. I know there's the sort of Labor Day situation with white, you know, shoes or what have you, but white boots themselves actually work really well. They work really well with mini skirts. You can pair them with hose. You know, they complement any sort of summer dress, which will obviously become very popular this spring, and sort of helps really pull your look together. You know, I think of them as a fun essential. If you don't own one, I think it's time to invest in one. Working again on colors, camel, obviously, along with yellow, is going to be very popular. The tans, it is a great basal look for your outfit. So whether that be a chino, a trench coat, what have you. Um, Everyone should own a few camel or tan pieces in their closet. Um, Works really well with yellow if you're just sort of redoing the whole, you know, trends together. Really great for mixing and matching colored items in your closet. Can be worn all year round, but I do think it is going to be very, very popular this spring. I think this sort of light, you know, yellow camel trend, you know, is coming from a place where we've all sort of been in possibly a very dark place and everyone's looking for some light, you know, in any way, shape, or form that they can right now. You can see it here. Can't get rid of it in my window right here. But it is a really, really nice way. You're even seeing it pop up in athleisure. I think it's going to be something that's really, really fun to wear when we start traveling, you know, getting on a plane. You want to look put together. You don't just wear your sweatpants. You're sick of your sweatpants. You've been wearing them for a year. Finding a really nice sort of cashmere set that's super comfortable, but very elevated because it's just really nice and monochromatic is going to be a very nice way to go. A lot of layering when it comes to jewelry is going to be very popular. You're going to see a lot of necklaces. You know, the key to layering, as you can see, is leaving little gaps. So I would stick it to a maximum of 4 items. Then it just tends to get a little too cluttered, but you can definitely mix metals. That is something that is also becoming very popular. No need to be scared of that anymore. You know, for the layering of chains, just remember, pick one focal point, one beautiful piece, and then mix and match around it. But don't overdo it. You want to make sure that the space is filled, but not completely overdone. And I would definitely stick to 3 to 4 items. And then, of course, you know, when you are layering, the cool thing about it is it does create a lot of visual interest. So just sort of, you know, think about what you're wearing. If you're pink, then wearing pink, I mean, like your pastels, you know, maybe veer towards a few more rose gold pieces rather than yellow gold or what have you. If we're wearing white, you know, stick to one of the others, maybe some white gold. But a good rule of thumb is to just try and balance it with what you're wearing. And choose the ideal color to complement your undertone. So that being said, you know, if you have warmer skin tones, stick towards the golds, the rose golds, and if you have cooler undertones, stick towards, you know, the white gold. House slippers. Okay, so this one's like, everyone's on the fence about this one. You've been wearing them all year long. You don't want to get rid of them. So I think the happy medium right now is Birkenstocks. Birkenstocks are very, very popular. You're seeing a lot of this sort of go-to look with jeans and a cute, you know, t-shirt, maybe your blazer again, or a hoodie. Just remember, when transitioning your slippers to the outside, you want to make sure that there are specific outside slippers, right? Like those, like Tevas, that type of thing, that have durable bottoms so that you don't wear them out, because there is a difference between specific indoor slippers and outdoor slippers, just to keep them, you know, and the longevity as long as possible. Paper thin fling purses is another accessory that's very trendy, especially with the street style kids. You know, it looks great with any casual outfit, especially with your spring dresses. You know, and again, works really, really great with the loose fitting stuff. So, as far as prints, you're going to see a lot of florals. You know, I love that, uh, in the Devil Wears Prada, where it's like florals for spring, groundbreaking, but it is true. They always come back for spring. Everybody loves a romantic floral for spring. I think the difference this year is that they're a lot bolder. You're seeing these, less of the tiny, tiny print florals and more of these sort of really vivacious, bold things. So just remember when you are wearing bold prints to mix and match, right? So if you're going to do a bold print on the bottom, keep it, paired with a basil color or a more minimalistic print. That way you have, some nice, a nice juxtaposition, and don't overdo it. Avoid the bold print on the areas of your body that you are weary to show. So basically, obviously keep the basal area. Let's say if you're bottom heavy and you don't want to draw attention to that, keep the bold florals up top. I know this one's crazy. I still think it's crazy. I haven't personally done it yet, but I love it when people do it right, is dresses over pants. This is a combo that has been very, very popular for 2020. It is, again, for the fashion forward and the bold, but quite easy to do if you want to do it, and go there. It is something where, as long as you make sure that you know that you need tailored silhouettes. So obviously the goal is, to pair a shift dress, let's say, over a tailored trouser, or, A-line skirts over skinnies. You just don't want the bulk underneath. So that's the one thing to be wary of. You can obviously wear a very loose fitting dress, belted in the middle, and still do it over a pair of jeans, and it looks great. But it is definitely a dramatic look. And then last but not least, so I make sure I can get to some of your questions, wide leg jeans. Right now you're seeing this sort of bubble shape, which I don't think is going to last very long, but I do think the wide leg shape is becoming very popularized. The skinny will never go away. That's people always ask me that. It is here to stay. But for the younger crowd, especially, this sort of like, boot cut, wide leg with a waist cinching top, a high waist is becoming very, very popular right now, especially because they can wear it with these tiny, tiny little crop tops. So if you want to try it out, definitely can be worn with white sneakers always. Definitely can be fun with a fun trench, some cool mules, again, your square toe, even a chunky knit sweater if you're willing to do that. Cropped, of course, if it's a high waist. And, again, if you're young and you can do it, do a very revealing top. It's always super fun. So while I have you guys, let me go back here because I know that there are quite a few questions. So let us start. Are there any websites that have great pictures of styles that you like besides the high fashion like Vogue? I mean, believe it or not, Pinterest is always a really, really great go-to for people and stylists alike. I love getting inspired on Pinterest, and you can literally say wide leg jean, boom, or even type into Google, how do I wear a wide leg jean? And it will literally define some great searches for exactly how you want to feel and get inspired. I like to just screen grab them, keep them on my phone. And then when I'm getting dressed, if I need a little help, I get inspired that way. So, bloggers are obviously a great way to start. Same thing. If you Google what type of blogger you're looking for, there are bloggers in every demographic possible. And some that, specify more on professional looks, some that specify, street style looks. They're really great for inspiration. They know what they're doing, and they usually are playing with very current pieces. So that what they're wearing is actually purchasable for the most part. So always a good thing if you're looking, for actual pieces for your wardrobe. Are boots over the knee still in style? They are currently more popularized under the knee, but that doesn't mean that over the knee has gone away. I think it tends to veer more that way towards fall just because there's more coverage. But right now, I think from the knee down tends to be more popular because you can wear them with your sundresses and your minis, and they're a bit less over the top these days for just coming out of quarantine for most people. But girl, rock them if you want to. I'm always a big fan of the over the knee. Are there any must-have colors or those to stay away from this spring? I mean, I think we covered it. Obviously the pastels, the sorbets, yellow is huge. White is really, really big. And camel. Those would be my top picks. And then again, in the florals, definitely feel free to go vibrant and bold on those. Let's see. Can you wear a men's blazer with jeans? And if so, should they be tight? Boyfriend, what style? You can definitely wear a men's blazer over jeans. If you want to go trendy, wear it over some wide jeans. You know, the boot cut and the flare are definitely on the rise, more so than skinny. But then again, like I said, you know, when you're talking about just proportions for the body, you know, you want to make sure that if you're going big on one side, if you need to pull it off, you might need to go skinny on the other. So if that is your go-to jeans, stick with it. I would fully suggest it. Another interesting combo that people have done is pair it with shorts. So think your sort of Bermuda shorts. I personally think that the biker short thing can go away with 2020, but that's just me personally. But if you do want to do it as sort of a more unique way to do suiting, try it with a knee length short. And that being said, if you want to try it with a pair of cutoff denim, it's kind of a new funky way to wear it that way. Are hairstyles like ponytails in, long hair, short hair? I think as far as hairstyles, everyone's just really happy to be coming back and doing their hair. So everybody, you see everyone who let their roots grow out or their grays come in. I think people are going to, you know, you have some like me who, you know, this is my natural hair color. I haven't been a brunette in 20 years. I am going to let it fly for a little while. But I do think that there are people that are just going to be really excited to get back to their coloring and really have fun with their hair. So I do think that, you know, doing your hair and sort of, you know, they allude to sort of everyone coming out of this and it being like the roaring 20s again. So I do think that people are going to be really excited, albeit slowly but surely in the transition months, to come out and do full makeup, full hair, full accessories. You know, I think everyone's really excited to, you know, showcase what they've been hiding in their closet for a year. So for sure. Skinny jeans, we just sort of talked about that. How do you and other stylists learn what styles are coming in and what to dress the celebrities in? So, you know, what we do is obviously we take a look at the runway. As soon as it happens, you'll see all stylists on Vogue.com, and we're taking a look at what's going down. You know, and then obviously we have an eye at this point to sort of see what has become very popular. So like, let's say if you know, see a lot of yellow bags, you just kind of pick up on that trend. You know, that being said, of course, you know, there are very amazing websites like Vogue and Elle and all those where, you know, they will essentially do the style breakdowns for you and they will trend forecast. And it's always a really nice way to sort of, you know, look and almost use it as a cheat sheet as well. And then you just sort of start seeing what your friends are putting on their people. And, you know, we sort of help create trends as well, which is one of the fun things, you know, of my job. So, you know, it is a very tight knit community with what I do in this industry. And so I think, you know, what you see immediately being popularized by your peers, you know, you sort of take inspiration from it and, you know, put it on your client as well. So, yeah. So I think I got to all the questions. Let me just make sure here.
I think we have one hand raised. Michelle, I don't know if you want to type it in or if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead and ask your question. I see your hands up.
Yeah, what color makeup is good for with red hair?
With red hair, you want to stick to the warm tones. So, you know, it's almost more what color your eyes are too, because you want to make sure that obviously the eyes are, you know, one of the brightest things to pull out. But I like the sort of, you know, purpley grays. I think, you know, those smoky grays are really, really good with red. You know, green, obviously, just like as in clothes, can work really well. But again, don't, you know, go for the crazy sort of acidic, you know, toxic green. You want to go for those sort of muted, beautiful tones that sort of have darker, almost like winter forest undertones. But yeah, I mean, anything that goes with the warm red, again, you want to make sure because there's deep, deep red, and then there's a lighter red. You know, warm tones work. Oh, so yeah, for you, yes, I would stick on the darker tone for sure. Yeah. Thank you, Girls Night Live. It's always a pleasure.